Welcome back to Lactuca Farm. I know it's been like a month and a half since my last post, but here we are. It's been a crazy spring. We've had wonderful reception at 124th Grand Market. So we've been scaling up. So today I'm just gonna walk you around and talk about the crops. So I kept everything relatively consistent in terms of seeding, but I have increased the amount of rows I've been planting. Probably double the triple what I first started there, so kind of 30-40 rows a week. But other than that, everything's been doing really well, and the seeding and the spacing and everything's really been working out. So I'm just going to give you a quick tour of what we got today. Right behind me you can see large leaf basil crop. It was seeded actually a little bit past June 1st and June 4th, and it's come fast and furious because of all this heat and water. It's doing really well right now. I took our first cut to the market last night, and I'm working on a collaboration for pesto with Rota, so that should be coming to 124th Grand in a week or so once we get everything kind of hammered out, what additional ingredients we're going to put. But yeah, it's a beautiful, just flawless crop. Hopefully it's going to get a lot bigger, but yeah, 200 linear feet seeded and cropping, so that's the first row I wanted to show you. So this is actually where I first started in the spring. This is where I did the first demo video on kind of how to seed salad greens. So that first crop, it's been cropped. I think I actually cropped this block 3 times, three cuts, and then turned it under. And now it's actually been seeded to edible flowers. People really have liked edible flowers in our salad mixes. So I've actually planted 17 rows of kind of mixed flowers. I think there's calendula in here, and Johnny Pop-Up, just a bunch of little edibles here. A nice mix from Territorial Seed. Right next to me, you can see this is actually a thinned out brassica crop. The other thing people were asking for was kale. So I had some kale grown in one of my mixes. So now I've just been letting it grow out and cropping it kind of weekly. I cropped it yesterday, so it's looking pretty meek, but it was pretty burly and pretty strong yesterday. Yeah, it's a real vigorous crop, so it looks good. But yeah, you can see the successions now moving behind me. There's a lot of kind of bare ground. If you look closely though, there's everything's starting to germinate. So within a couple weeks this should green up real nice, and we should start to see some more succession. Right behind me you'll see there's a mixed block, and that has I think 27 rows in it of kind of romaine and mixed lettuce, and there's some mild brassicas in there. I've kind of removed the spicy arugula from the blend because it kept bolting, so it's getting some pretty tough stems and some pretty spicy greens in there. So I've removed arugula by replacing it with a milder brassica mix. Okay, we'll keep moving. I just want to show you this block for fun. Kevin Coswin and I were tweeting a few weeks back about Elliot Coleman's intensive planting of carrots. One of the things he does is plant at 2-inch spacing for his carrot crops. I kind of like went back and forth with Kevin, and I was like, impossible, how can you do that? Given the spread of carrots, that's I don't know. Didn't seem probable. So anyway, I did run a test here with some Nants. I think these are Napoli F1 hybrid, but you can see this lens cap here. The spacing is, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I put it at 3 or 4 inches, but even at 3 or 4 inches, this is like 2 weeks in now. The canopies are touching, so I don't know. I mean, maybe carrots are great at vertical space, but and I've got to thin out these rows to 2 inch between plants, not just like 2 or 3 between rows. But here's an experiment here. We're just trying to see how these, or if any carrots are croppable off of 2-inch spacing. So this is the newest block that we're cropping off of. I had some trouble with leaf miners in the sorrel. You can still see I'm kind of fighting them. I'm kind of tossing them out whenever I find them. But this block's been really productive. I've switched over here to Jericho romaine. Because we're in the midsummer heat, you need something that can withstand it a bit, and the romaines do really well in hot summer heat. So I've taken my first cut there yesterday off the romaine, but you can see kind of this is the succession is coming right behind it. So this kind of it's almost a 5-foot wide block, has really been cranking out the greens. So I'm not sure if I showed you guys this a little earlier, but this used to be my old compost patch. This is my compost patch in late spring. So I put the corn in. It's a little late. I know most people's corn are like, I don't know, 4 feet tall by now, but I think we'll still get a crop. It's 70 day from seed, so it's up in the compost. And then what I've also done is I've added chard here. I was saying big market demand for chard this year, so I thought, hey, let's use the space between the corn and just max it out. So I've got rainbow chard here. It was seeded like June 15th or 16th, so but give it 3 weeks and we'll have our first cut off it. So yeah, it's a real nice block. I'll show you it in a few weeks. My newest salad green block, and it's switched to summer production, so there's a lot more romaine and things that don't bolt as much. So you'd see amaranth, you'd also see mache. I've put a few rows of chervil in here, as well as just some cut come again chard. So everything's germinating in like 3 to 4 days. So this should be harvestable within 4 weeks. But yeah, really nice germination. That's about all I have to show you today. So thanks for watching. I'll see you at the 124th Grand Market or in the Twitterverse.